China is sending its highest-level delegation to North Korea since 2019 to kick off a friendship year. Chinese leader Zhao Leiji attends the session of the National People's Congress at the Great Hall of the People in Beijing last month. Hong Kong CNN, China's highest-level visit to North Korea in nearly 5 years is set to get underway Thursday, as Pyongyang seeks to strengthen relations with both Beijing and Moscow amid growing coordination between its neighbors and the United States. Zhao Leiji, China's third highest ranked official, will lead a delegation for the goodwill visit to the country to kickstart a friendship year marking 75 years of diplomatic ties, Beijing announced Tuesday. The 3-day visit at North Korea's invitation shows the great importance China tends to those relations. A Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson said North Korea's state media agency KCNA also announced the visit. It also afforded the top Chinese official the opportunity to hear directly from North Korea's intensely secretive and isolated government. While on the ground, analysts say Zhao is the highest-ranking Chinese visitor to the country since the state visit from Chinese leader Xi Jinping in 2019. Zhao leads China's rubber stamp national registrator and is a member of its powerful seven-man Politburo standing committee. The trip comes as both countries are wary of what they see as the increasingly hostile region, in particular growing security coordination between the US and its allies, Japan and South Korea, which in turn seek to counter aggression from Beijing and Pyongyang. The delegation will also arrive amid heightened global concern about North Korea, which has in recent months ramped up its bellicose rhetoric and continued its weapons testing. Pyongyang has also forged closer ties with Moscow and begun supplying arms used in its war in Ukraine, the US and its allies say. Uh, those geopolitical fault lines are underscored as the Chinese delegation's visit coincide with the raft of Asia-focused diplomacy in Washington this week. U.S. President Joe Biden is hosting a trilateral summit with the Philippines and Japan Thursday, a day after meeting with Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, where they pledged to advance coordination around countering challenges from China and North Korea. In an interview with CNN ahead of that meeting, Kishida referred to China and North Korea's close ties with Russia and urged them to maintain a free and open international order based on the rule of law. Goodwill Mission, as the ruling Chinese Communist Party's number 3 official below Xi and Premier Li Kang, Zhao's goodwill mission carries more weight than a visit from the government-level minister. The visit is not expected to usher in diplomatic development, but will be an opportunity for China to reinforce its own deep and complex ties with North Korea and convey to the US and the region that it has leverage there. At a time when the United States is trying to work more closely with Japan and South Korea, China wants to signal its own influence, said Liu Dongshu, an assistant professor at Hong Kong's City University. The trip could also be an important opportunity for the upper echelon echelons of China's political establishment to better understand the circumstances in North Korea today. Only a handful of Chinese officials have visited the country since it eased the pandemic controls last year, a period during which Pyongyang has ramped up rhetoric around its nuclear weapons development and unveiled a major policy shift away from seeking reunification with South Korea. China probably needs to understand what's happening and what's the real intention of the North Korea leader, given that North Korea just recovered from COVID and shifted its policies. Apart from routine communication, China needs to get more information, Liu said. For North Korea, the visit provides the opportunity to tighten its ties with its most important international partner as it seeks to bolster itself against the expanding drills and security cooperation between the US and South Korea, which Kim sees as the threat to his regime. Balance of power. China has long walked a thin line in its relations with North Korea. It is a critical economic lifeline for North Korea, crippled by international sanctions over its illegal weapons testing. The two also have close historical and ideological ties and fought together during the Korean War of the 1950s. Today, Beijing stands to benefit when U.S. attention is drawn away from itself and toward Pyongyang's provocative rhetoric and weapons testing. But it also has the strong interest in ensuring that Kim's posturing doesn't spark the potentially devastating conflict in the region or draw more U.S. force there. When China's regional geopolitical situation has deteriorated, you will see China became a lot more supportive or accommodating to North Korea, said Li Mingjiang, an associate professor of international relations at Singapore's Nanyang Technological University. When China feels the geopolitical pressures from the US and from regional states in Asia Pacific becoming less, you will see stronger desire on the part of Beijing to put pressure on North Korea's nuclear policy, missile policy. He said China is also likely paying close attention to the enhanced cooperation between North Korea and Russia, where Kim made a visit last year to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin. Beijing, which has expanded economic, diplomatic, and security ties with Russia following Putin's invasion of Ukraine, has declined to comment on any transfer of arms transfer from North Korea to Russia, calling their cooperation a matter between those two sovereign states. It also abstained from a United Nations Security Council vote last month to extend monitoring North Korea's violations of UN sanctions. The measure was vetoed by Russia. But while the three authoritarian countries share security concerns and opposition to the American network of alliances, Beijing is also wary of any optics that it's forming an axis with Russia and North Korea, according to the Yun Sun, director of the China program at the Washington-based Stimson Center think tank. China doesn't want to return to the Iron Triangle with North Korea and Russia, and also may not want to see Pyongyang's relations with Moscow dilute its own influence, she said. But China plays a critical and irreplaceable role in both economies, and Russia-North Korea rapprochement has not threatened or damaged China's interest yet.